fully modular interior, beautiful exterior, and completely silent. The Definer 5 from Fractal Design. Link in the description for pricing and availability. Hello everyone, I'm Dmitry with Canucks, and the Fujifilm X100T is a unique piece of gear because it combines this retro looking type of body with old school handling elements, but with an APS-C size sensor and tools for both pro photographers and amateur photographers or amateur consumers to take excellent images with very satisfying operational mechanics once you learn the camera. And this all adds up to a hefty price that I initially thought might be a total turnoff, but that soon changed once I began to sort of explore the full potential of the X100T and the joy of shooting with something like this. And to get the specs out of the way, it captures 16.3 megapixel images with the APS-C X Trans 2 sensor with the ISO range of 200 to 51,000, 3-inch screen at the back, Wi-Fi capabilities, and a whole load of other features that make this experience even more complete. Now, I recently traveled to Panama to escape the miserable winter of Toronto and to get some sun, of course, that I brought back with me, but that soon changed once the snow started falling again. We're in spring now, but anyway, what a better way to test out the camera than to actually take it on the road with you and see what it can do. And as you can see, the camera is gorgeous. Many people thought this was a film camera at first, and if you are a traveler and want to sort of minimize attracting attention, I would say this would be a considerable choice. Also, a full black version is available, but there is something about that division between the silver bits and the textured midsection. I love this look. Now, one of the reasons I said this camera may improve you as a photographer is because of the fixed prime lens. This 23mm optic will make you move your feet to capture the perfect shot. No longer can you rely on a zoom. From a versatility standpoint, the lack of a zoom can be seen as a negative, especially since the lens is fixed. You cannot swap them for like a zoom, for example, but I was happy with the wide field of view to capture your scene. Plus, the lens has manual clicked aperture control. If you haven't yet worked with the manual aperture, it's really awesome, and dialing in that auto settings will enable aperture priority. Furthermore, the lens has a really smooth focusing ring that is a positive, although it is kind of awkward to reach, and I think it's totally unnecessary. Plus, I was really surprised to find that you cannot remap the ring to change any of the settings, so it's locked to only control the focus. And I would much rather have this set to perhaps changing your ISO on the fly, or choosing different creative filters if you're going for that effect. And I'm surprised that this is not available in the firmware. Maybe that will roll out sometime in the future, because the X30 camera, which is much cheaper and we reviewed earlier, has that option. You're able to choose what the lens ring does instead of just controlling the focus. However, on a positive note, the controls are very well laid out, starting with easy to access power switch that surrounds the shutter button, so you kind of never miss a moment fiddling around to turn on the camera. The two dials beside it are your shutter speed with an easy to distinguish auto mode, and exposure compensation to the right that has come in handy multiple of times while outdoors. The switch on the side is very important to remember. This is your focus set. between manual, continuous, and single. I love that we have this feature not buried somewhere in the settings, but easily accessible right on the body. On the other side behind this door is a mini mic and remote jack, micro USB for data and charging, and micro HDMI for TV playback. The rest of the controls are laid out just fine surrounding the 3-inch 1 million dot screen with clicky buttons plus an extra dial for your thumb, and that is my other negative point on the X100T regarding operational mechanics. It's way too loose, scroll steps are not defined, and it's very easy to misdial your desired settings. Now, one of the unique features of the X100T is the dual viewfinder that you switch using this dial thing at the front. You can either have an electronic viewfinder that's automatically turned on when you approach the eyepiece, and there are many positive features on it like grid lines showing you all the settings, histogram, and etc. But the color is really inaccurate, contrast is way off, and you seriously cannot judge the final image with the electronic viewfinder. I would say it's only good for composing your shots and when you're outside in bright sunlight. The optical viewfinder, however, is a bit different, but also far from perfect as it doesn't work when in macro mode, so make sure macro mode is disabled. Composing your shots will prove inaccurate and difficult regardless if framing assist is enabled. And I just ended up using the electronic viewfinder when outdoors to get my composition right and to get a sense of depth of field that you don't get with the optical viewfinder, because you're literally just looking through that corner of the camera body. It doesn't fully represent what the lens is seeing, so don't use it. Just use the electronic viewfinder or the screen in the back. Handling feels normal, however the textured midsection is more slippery than I like, and the lack of a thumb bit at the back should make you accustomed to being more careful and handle the X100T with two hands for support. But enough about the camera, let's talk about what you can capture with it. So first, the focus is fast. Even in low light, I was impressed. The burst mode gets up to 25 frames per second in the lowest quality JPEG, and of course much slower when capturing RAW. And the ability to shoot RAW is a must for this day and age and this price point. And look at how vibrant the colors are captured. The dynamic range is excellent, and having that f2.0 aperture for really shallow depth of field is awesome, complemented by a large APS-C size sensor that can handle high ISO pretty well, all the way up to 6400, where digital noise starts to appear but the detail is still there, and having that f2.0 lens pays off beautifully for evening photography. And I really enjoyed shooting with the X100T, even though I think the EVF should have been much better, but the body size, the pancake lens, turned this into almost ideal camera for travel, because once you learn the field of view and how far you need to be away from your subject for that perfect capture, you kind of forget about the drawbacks and be in the moment of getting awesome pictures. The battery life is nothing outstanding. Spending half the day on the beach drained the battery completely, and I didn't even fully fill my SD card. The video modes got 1080p at 60 FPS and on paper sounds excellent, but look at that footage, it looks terrible. Seriously, they could have made it better for a camera that costs this much? That's not okay. So the X100T is not the most versatile camera, and it certainly has faults. With the viewfinder, it lacks needed ergonomics for a comfortable one-hand operation, and the video mode is a joke, and battery life is too short. But after reviewing the pictures and reflecting on how much fun I had shooting with it, it all seemed to go out of the window, because the lens and the sensor combination on the X100T is brilliant. Because in photography, despite the tools that we use, it's the sort of the final outcome and how you feel when capturing those moments that really matters. And I feel the Fujifilm X100T captures that essence of just going out and taking pictures and enjoying yourself while doing so perfectly with this camera. And so that concludes this camera review. We hope you enjoyed, and let us know which of the pictures you enjoyed the most with a comment below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more similar content, and we'll see you in the next one.